Mr. Yacho back here again with the digital perspective. It's a little bit chilly this January evening, but let's go ahead and move past that because we've got a lot to cover today. Our topic is gamification. We're going to talk about pre-made games, we're going to talk about online whiteboards, and we're going to talk about creativity in slides. Alright, so getting started with the pre-made content, we're going to dive into a little bit about how to use Gimkit, Blookit, and Kahoot. Let's check it out.
All right, so Kahoot, Gimkit, and Blookit. One thing I like about all of these is that they are all free. Although they do all have paid versions, there's plenty of content that you can access for free. They both have the ability to create your own questions, but sometimes if you want to see stuff that is already made, a lot of the times the Kahoots that have been made are already organized by Teeks. I like to go by that because that helps me find something that is exactly on topic with what I'm talking about. Let's take this one for example, and boom, you're already starting an engage activity or a finishing activity. And if you don't like the questions, or let's say there's one question that doesn't really pertain to what you want to talk about, edit Kahoot. It'll make a copy for you right there, and you can delete that question or just change that one weird answer, and there you go. Kahoot has lots of pre-made content, and you can make your own. Gimkit is exactly the same way. You can make your own new kit, or you can go and search a topic. Let's say author's purpose. That's a big one in elementary. There we go. And boom, we've got questions right here. They already got it right here. The thing about Gimkit though is that once you play live, you can choose different games. There are lots of different games. This one is the easiest one for everybody. I love this game, and we'll see a clip of it here in a second. And another good one that everyone likes is Trust No One. And this is inspired by the Among Us. It is very similar to the Among Us game, but you'll see a clip of just how engaging this can make. You can just take text questions and make them incredibly engaging for students. And last but not least, we also have Blookit. Guess what? It also has the same thing. You can create your own set. You can discover sets. So let's say we want to talk about two-step math problems. Let's say that is the topic you're going for. Boom, we already have this right here, and you can copy these to edit them to make them your own topic. To make them the questions the way that you would like it.
And here's a clip of a teacher and students playing a Gimkit game. They have to answer questions to get snowballs, and it is a lot of fun because the teacher can join in on the fun too.
Alright, that last clip, that was another Gimkit game based on the Among Us, and you can see how engaged those students were. It's funny how if you put like a question onto a piece of paper and kids, they get stressed out and they're tired, but you put that same exact question into one of these games, all of a sudden they're having the time of their lives. Let's move on. Alright, so now we have creativity in slides. Yes, there are ways to use slides, whether they're PowerPoint or Google, to make games. And in fact, we have all the stuff that we mentioned or are about to mention linked below if you want to make some copies of this to use for your own templates. These are great to be adapted to use for star questions. These are great for vocabulary practice. The world is your oyster. There's infinite ways to be creative.
Right, so getting creative with slides. And this actually works for PowerPoint as well. Did you know that I know many people know that you can link to different websites by clicking on something and highlighting it and clicking the link button, but you can also link it to slides that are in the PowerPoint. So whenever we click on this one, it'll go to slide 4 and it'll have a question there. You go there, it'll take you to the next one, and there's the answer. And then we even have one that will turn us back to the main board right here. This is a template that is linked in the description below. Feel free to make a copy and add one and add some of your own questions in as well. Another one here is a choose your own adventure. This is a template that can easily be used for an escape room or some kind of adventure where students have to use their knowledge to figure out how to get to the whatever it is, the MacGuffin at the end. And it is really easy to just display this, and then the students won't need their own technology. They can just choose, and then the teacher will click up here. I like to use physical whiteboards, and people will put up their answers up here, and then we'll go with whatever most people chose, and then there you go, choose your own adventure. Even Slides Mania has lots of different kinds of games that you can download for free. Spin the wheel, flashcards, lots of flashcards, play your character, and all of these things are linked in the description below.
Here's another simple way to gamify learning using a slides or a PowerPoint. This activity simply has something that the student is supposed to do for each side of the die, and they'll roll the die, do the activity, and move on. And that is a quick and easy way to gamify a lesson and get students engaged.
All right, and last but not least, we have online boards. Yes, these got popular during our online learning, but they're still useful today. We're going to talk about Jamboard, Microsoft Whiteboard, which is new with our awesome new laptops, and my personal favorite, Whiteboard.fi, brought to you by the Kahoot people. Let's check it out.
All right, so using whiteboards as a team in class. So Jamboard goes along with all the other Google Suite options. You got Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Jamboard. And what it is simply a whiteboard that you can share with your students. They can make post-it notes and things like this. I changed all the names to Johnny so you didn't see my students, but you can do all kinds of games away, and the thing is you can share this with your students. You copy this link, you can post it into Canvas, you can post it into Seesaw, you can post it really anywhere, as long as I would just make sure you post it somewhere only our students can find, and that way they'll come in and they'll pop up here just like on a Google Doc. And so this is a game where we played four corners, where I would give them a question, and then they would move their little notepad to which corner they believe the answer was going to be, and that is just a fun activity. I will recommend practicing this with students first, because sometimes our more rambunctious students might have fun moving around other people's stuff, but I have a great activity for practicing against that here in a second. And thankfully we have our awesome new laptops here. You might have noticed this little pin button right here, Windows Ink Workspace. If you click on there, you got a couple options, full screen snip, and you have the whiteboard. The whiteboard there's a little bit more features in this than in Jamboard, but I would say Jamboard is more simple to use. So if you like to go in and have like everything, here are some examples of things that you can do. Obviously you can draw. Jamboard does not have a rainbow one, but I'll tell you what, Microsoft does. And you can add in documents, you can add in pictures. So if you have a warm-up activity or some kind of passage or some kind of PDF, you can upload it in here, zoom in and annotate all over it and display it for your students. But also they have a Jamboard-like feature. If you go up here in the top right, you can share it as well, and you can copy the link and post it just like you would the Jamboard link or any other Google Docs or Google Slides link, and students will join in and be able to manipulate the slides. You can set it, there's a setting to set it to where they can just see what you're doing, and there's a setting to let them draw and move stuff and create things as well. One thing that I did with students to help them realize that we need to be on the same team here is we made a social contract. There we go. So students wrote down all their ideas here. We put them in little post-it notes. I don't want to zoom in too quickly because I don't want to give away anybody's information, but essentially we brought it all together, and then we started combining our ideas together into a sort of a contract here, so that way they know that if they cannot handle the rules that they set for themselves, then they will no longer they'll be kicked out of the whiteboard. So there you go. Last but not least, certainly my favorite of all the virtual whiteboards is Whiteboard.fi. This one is my favorite because instead of giving everybody on the same board, every student gets their own board. There are lots of cool features that you can do, and it is free. Actually, it is owned by the people who do Kahoot. So you can give this code out, or you can send a link to students, and then they will join it here. You can do whatever it is on here. I love to add in screenshots or images or PDFs of activities here. And then once you have your activity, all right, so I went in on another account and I logged in as a student here. And so once you have your activity, whether you put in like a screenshot of a warm-up activity or some kind of passage you want them to annotate over, or some kind of math equation where you want them to draw out the problem. I love having students draw the problems using emojis. They have a lot of fun with that. And the main idea is you can send, so let's say you make something very cool and you want to send it to your students. So let's say I have an activity like a math activity here. You can click right here onto students and you can push teacher whiteboard to students. So you can choose to send all your pages or just one. And once you send it, they will get the activity or whatever it is that you sent them. And in real time, you will be able to see every student's different reactions as they draw what they do. You can even download these as a PDF if you want to use them as grades later. So what I love about this one is that everybody gets their own whiteboard, and it makes it a little bit more easier to not have to worry about students messing with anybody else's work. So there you go, whiteboard.5.
All right, Irving ISD, that about wraps it up for our episode on gamification. If you liked any of these ideas or have any of your own you'd like to share, put them in the comments below and I'll check them out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out our description for links to all the things that we covered today. There's a lot of interesting things happening in Irving ISD, and visit us whenever you need the digital perspective.